Welcome to Knitting My Shit Together, a knitting and fiber arts podcast where neurodivergence and yarn collide. My name is Willa. I use she, her pronouns. I am in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and you can find me on Instagram at whatwillamake.
And my name's Sam. I use she, her pronouns as well, and I live in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I am now on Instagram as Queer of Pentacles Makes, but I used to be Protege Knits.
Changing. I like how you did the little announcement, Sam.
Thank you. It's me.
I have a million letterboards, but I just have quotes on them all over.
Yeah.
And I've thought about doing something like that, and then I forget.
I usually have something weird on it, but every once in a while I'll use it for something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so we took notes is what we did today. So, where is Annika? You all might be asking, and who is Sam? Well, so as you all know, Annika was finishing up the process to get their teaching certification, and they live in a small conservative town in Washington State. And apparently, some court somewhere made a decision that what is on teachers' social media sites is completely fair game as grounds for them to be terminated or not hired. So ridiculous. It's ridiculous because of this. If Annika had been putting stuff up celebrating pedophilia, I'd be like, yeah, that should totally count against them and they should be fired immediately. But if they have stuff with cuss words, that won't work. Or podcasts where I talk about peacocks and other things having orgies and making yarn babies and swears, that for their town would be a deal breaker. And they're in a transitional phase in their life where they really need to be getting this full-time job so they can get their own place and all of that. And as long as they live in a small conservative town, which would be awesome so they can be close to their kids, they can't do the podcast because they can't risk losing their job, which I completely miss them. And that is sad, but completely understandable as well. So Sam and I, we're going to use generally the same format, but it's going to be different. Because Sam and I will figure out, Annika and I had our little traditions and things, and I'm sure Sam and I are going to develop our own, and we might add new things or take away new things, and it'll be its own relationship. We're not going to try and make Sam carbon copy Annika, because that would be impossible. Instead, we'll celebrate what is Sam and continue to celebrate and remember what was Annika. Boom. Do you have anything
looking
to add?
forward to it.
Do you have anything to add,
No,
Sam?
just looking forward to it. I'm glad to be here, and yeah. It'll be fun.
Yeah. We're going to talk about FOs first.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go
jump
first?
right into it. Well, quick updates, life updates. Do you want to share any life updates? What's going on with you? Anything? How are you handling the COVID, the election, all the things, the apocalypse?
Doing okay. I've had some rough days recently, but, taking my medication and chilling out.
Yeah.
That's it, though. Nothing exciting. I mostly just work from home and play with my cats.
I've been really anxious. And I thought after Biden won, when I had the days of whew, I had that for a day or two, and then now yesterday I started getting anxious again because of the Republican Party's decision not to concede, and him saying I'm gonna do rallies. I don't think he'll be able to legally change the outcome of anything, don't get me wrong. My concern is what kind of nationalist crazies does he stir up? And
the backlash is terrifying.
That's what is scary to me, especially as somebody who's queer and neurodivergent and all the things. It's a little freaky. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I have a million things to do. And when I'm like anxious like that, all I want to do is like spin. And that is not on the list of one of the million things I need to get done. Like, I need to be getting bags done for the winter pre-order. I'm doing this test knit that's late. Like, there are multiple things I need to get done. But I'm like, I'm going to make yarn. It's
I'm starting
helpful.
to feel the holiday crunch already, and I just don't want to. I need a break.
I'm supposed to do another test knit. I'm finishing this one, and I think I'll finish it in the like extended deadline the designer gave me. I'll talk about it later, but I was going to do another test knit right after that, but I'm thinking I might email the designer and be like, hey, so I really want to knit this with the yarn I talked to you about, but I am going to instead buy the pattern from you when it's published, and can you find a different tester in my size?
Yeah.
Because I need to be able to knit what I want right now.
Same.
Yeah. And figure out ways to let myself off my own hook.
I keep setting up like unrealistic appointed goals that it's just stressing me out because I'm like, well, I need to finish this by this time. I don't. There's literally no reason for me to do that. I'm just stressing myself out by setting these like arbitrary goals.
And then you're like, wait a minute. And
Which is why I didn't sign up for any test knits recently, because that's like, I don't need that on top of the stuff I'm already inflicting on myself.
And I just want to say this to everybody. Let this be the year that you're okay, just like you don't have to make everybody's presents. Like, if you have the financial ability, order from another maker. If you're able to.
Yeah, we're doing pretty simple for, like, we usually buy stuff for all the kids in our family, but we're, like, doing cross-stitch ornaments because Becca got into cross-stitch, so we're kind of tag-teaming that, and then making those, like, jars of, like, brownie mix. Like, you layer it, and it has all the stuff to make brownies, because it's a cute thing to do with kids, so all the families in our family are getting that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, for the audience, let it be for them the year that they do gift cards. And I think people, since holiday shopping is right around the corner, let's remember, and I'm not talking about me, like, do not get a Tomboy Femme bag, okay? Take me off the list. But, so this isn't about self-promotion. There are tons of small businesses and makers, like, especially BIPOC-owned businesses and makers. Please, those indie makers, support them during the holidays. Buy stuff from them because
they need it this year.
There isn't COVID relief in sight, at least until January 20th.
And like all those holiday markets that they probably would have sold at during this time aren't going to happen. So.
Yeah, completely. So if you're deciding what to get, please don't buy something from a big corporation if possible. Don't try not to get from Amazon if possible. Like, instead, get from a small shop, indie shop, maker. Support your local yarn store. Yeah, if you're able. Support BIPOC makers. Yeah. That's my 2 cents on holiday shopping.
It's good 2 cents.
Yeah. Okay. FOs. Do you want to go first, Sam, or should I?
You go first.
Okay, I'm wearing my first FO. I wasn't sure if I talked about this when Annika and I were recording. This, oh my God, Sam. Okay.
Oh, it looks so cozy.
This design, I have to stand up to show. So, the pattern is called the Childhood Sweater, and it is by the designer Annika, who is German, Ankestricke. So, caveat too. I realized that what I hate about podcasting is editing, and Sam does not mind editing. So eventually Sam is going to take over the editing when she feels like she has the spoons. In the meantime, though, what we put out may or may not be edited. I haven't decided yet. Probably this one will not be, because...
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm at the point now where, like, I realized after we record today, what I need to do is make a list of, like, okay, these are things you can get done today to finish. And I just need to start making myself a list every day for the next, like, 10 days. And then I'll be over the hump of like the winter bag pre-order thing I'm doing. I'll be through that. So yeah. So
lists help me too. It's very helpful to like stay on task. It just
helps me see it all, and because I think what happens is you build it up in your head. Like this happened when I was taking classes too. I need to do this, and then I get overwhelmed. Whereas if I can just make a list, it's so much more tangible
and it's satisfying when you can cross something off. Like you can see this is the progress that I've made.
It totally is.
Yeah. I love this too.
Anxiety disorder.
Anyway, your sweater.
101. Yeah. So my sweater. So this is by Annika Strick. ANKESTRICKE. That's what would say underneath if I was editing on Instagram. And it's called Childhood. I love it. And I knit it using my favorite yarn, Brooklyn Tweed Loft. And this is in newsprint is the colorway. It's just a white and black marled yarn. And what's great is that it's a ginormous sweater, but because Loft is woolen spun, it hardly weighs anything, Sam.
Nice.
It's so warm and airy and cozy. And also, I have freakishly long arms for my body. Like, I'm one of those people who I'm not above average tall for a femme person, but I have a short torso and long legs and long arms. And I always have to get garments where the arms are too short unless I make my own. So I love the cozy feeling of long. So look what I went for it with the sleeves.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So that's this. Childhood, knitted a Brooklyn Tweed Loft.
And you love it.
My FO. What do you got? I mean, I probably finished other things. I'm just not talking about it because I can't remember them and it would be a lot.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I only have a couple things too. I mean, I finished other things, but since we ditched Ravelry, I have a bad time keeping track of what I finished in what period of time because I'm just not writing it down anymore. So, but I did finish pair of socks the other day. This is with Sultan's Fiber, Alwyn Sultan Fiber, and it's the Die Hard colorway, so it's the first scheme that I bought from him. I didn't really use a pattern. I just kind of did like heel flap, gusset, wedge toe, basic, because I didn't really want to have to think about it that much, but I love it so much. I'm not usually a neons person, but these are so fun. Like, I originally intended these to be Halloween socks because there's like orange and green and stuff, but I didn't finish them on time. So
aren't his colors super saturated too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you will find Sultan Fiber on Instagram at ALWANSULTAN. Maybe fibers after that too? I'm not sure.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
It doesn't matter.
But
you'll find it. Once you get that much typed in, Instagram will pull it up in the search results. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, yeah, that's my one, like, knitting FO that I have with me. And then I did some spinning.
Is that colorway? That's the Die Hard Yarn shop colorway, which I know you can only get through Die Hard Yarns. So when he does an update, you'd have to go to the Die Hard Yarns website to get that, and it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and I used knit picks for a contrasting heel just because.
What is that, like charcoal gray or black?
It's black with flex, like tweedy flex. So yeah. And then I did some spinning as well. I'm still not super great at it, but I've just been experimenting with different things so that I can learn. But I have the electric eel wheel nano because I live in a 1-bedroom apartment, so I don't have room for a spinning wheel. I bought a bunch of fiber off of Kat, who is Marshmallow Witch Knits, when she did a D-stash, because I was just looking for some more interesting things to work with. And she had like a lot of just like rollags, like it was just little rollags in different colors. So I was like, I'm just gonna make some like chaotic yarn and see what happens. So the first, I found there were 2 different ones that were a completely different fiber than everything else. I have no idea what they were because they were unlabeled, but I just made like this.
See, I think you're doing great. That's lovely.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. And then this is the like.
Love it.
It's just everything. It's a 3-ply. I've never done a traditional 3-ply before, so that was what
Did
this
you
was. I
chain
wanted
ply
to try.
it or ply them separately?
I usually chain ply, but this time I did just a regular 3-ply.
How do you do a regular 3-ply? I've never done it.
I
like,
take
which
my...
way do you spin things? Do you just take 3 and do them all counterclockwise to the singles, or do you do 2 first and then add another?
No, I do all 3 at the same time. So I do an S spin on my singles and then a Z spin on my...
Is that clockwise and then
ply.
Counterclockwise?
I don't know. I have the eel wheel nano, so I just flip the switch back.
Got it. That's right. Mine, I have to think, which way am I treadling? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I just do one way and then the other way. But yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out.
It's gorgeous.
It's fun, yeah. I'm still not super consistent, like, but I wasn't even aiming for that here. It's just art yarn, like, you know.
And here's the thing. So. Like, to me, that's the fun. And this is one thing I would encourage you to knit with those and find out how deeply gratifying it is to knit with your own hand spun. But
yeah.
Also, one thing that bothers me is I knew someone once who was a pretty avid spinner, but they hardly ever knit with their fiber, their hand spun, because they're like, look at it, has all these bumps, and I'm like,
special.
Who cares? Like, it's hand spun. It's never gonna look like machine spun.
It's not gonna be perfect.
It's not.
Yeah. I've only knit like a teeny tiny like baby hat out of my hand spun so far, because I'm like, oh, it's special. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I have for ethos.
Okay. I guess now we go to whips, huh?
Yep.
Whips. All right. Do you want me to go first for whips?
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously I have the one I'm working on now. This is a test knit I'm doing that I'm late on. It was supposed to be done yesterday. Now it's going to be done in a few days. It's one of the things on my list that I need to do that's not spinning. But let me show you. Let me finish this. Okay, so the designer is Millie's Designs, Millie's Knit Designs. It's Crystal Hyatt is her name. And I found her. She is local to me. She's in Minnesota. She lives, if I were to run and jump in the Mississippi River and float like an hour and a half downstream, I would be at Crystal's house. So this, I have, look how close I am.
Oh, nice.
So it's hard to see.
That's really cool.
I don't know how well the color is going to show up, but I am knitting it out of JC Rennie. They're 2-ply, super soft. It might be a 4-ply. And it's fingering weight. So this is going to actually be a cowl neck when it's done. So you pick up, when I finish this next sleeve, you pick up around in the main color and do a cowl neck. And that's optional, I think. But then the best part is at the end, this is the back. I don't know if you can see here, but see how I have ribbing and then stockinette in a patch? That's because I'm going to pick up the bottom of the stockinette and you knit pockets in the contrast color, and it's going to come above this line, so there'll be 2 pockets.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
That's cool.
So I wasn't sure if this looked too Charlie Brown with the yellow and brown. This is like kind of a heathery brown. It's just not showing up super well.
Yeah, it looks black on camera.
Yeah.
But no, that's cool though.
And then, but I think once I finish the sleeves and add the collar and the pockets, it won't. And I really...
Are the pockets going to be brown too, or is it a different color?
Brown.
Okay.
That'll be brown too. And, you know, you can do it all in 1 color. You can do it in 2. I think the pattern release is going to be the 19th. So if you all want to follow Millie's Knit Designs, that's the Instagram handle, MILLYSKNIT Designs. So this is one of my whips that I'm only going to show what I'm working on because I have like 8 whip bags hanging up right now, but yeah. Then
me too.
I'm doing socks, as always. The first sock is the second sock that I'm almost done with. Oh, look at this bag I made for myself for socks.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's fun.
And rainbows.
Okay. I'm not going to talk about the yarn company because it is a person who basically has not come out and made an anti-racist statement and has even been directly asked about it and has not made one. And I just don't have, but I already had a whole bunch of their yarn. So I'm just not even going to share their name, just share the socks because I'm like, you need to say something. Come on now.
Like at this point,
the world is burning. You need to say something.
Yeah.
So this is the first, these are for my partner, Matthew. This is the first sock. And the nice thing that's great about knitting socks for him is that while he does have a men's size 12 foot, which is ginormous, he likes short cuffs. So that's at least
good.
Yeah. And so this is the second sock, and I'm getting close-ish to the heel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you doing afterthought heels, or are you doing...
I do afterthought always. And it came with a mini that matches to do toes, heels, and cuffs. Then I also cast on another sock the other day, because,
yeah,
why not do more shit on my list of million things I shouldn't be doing right now? And this is actually Alwan Sultan as well. This was a second he did when he was figuring out the colorways for the die-hard yarns.
Gotcha.
And he had this left. He's like, I'm not sure I love it. And I'm like, I do. Send it to me. And so Perfect. He did. I bought it from him. And so I'm using this mini. This is from Me to Yarn. Jessie, I'm using a mini of hers, and so I have that. This is a little cardinal stitch marker I have from Lock and Lou, and I only got to like 2 rows in the second stripe is how far I got, and then I'm like, Willa, maybe just focus on one pair of socks at a time right now in this season of life that you are in, and that's what I have for my whips. And I've been doing like. Oh, I'm going to go get one more thing that I finished to show. Okay. Obviously, I've been spinning like a mad woman, so...
Oh, I saw your picture. Yeah, is that what you're getting?
Yeah. Like, I've easily spun 2,000 yards.
Oh my gosh.
Easily. Like, plied and everything. And then, let me go get this one thing that I've done.
Oh.
But it's mostly dry. I soaked it and washed it last night. So Annika, Tea-Fueled Living, Tea-Fueled Dyeing, has these things they sell called woolly bits. And it's like just little puffs of, and I love them. I think they are so addictive to spin. I call them puffballs, not woolly bits, because I think puffballs sounds fun. And so what I started doing the other night, I've already done 2 bags of the puffballs, and then I bought 2 more from them that are being sent to me as of today, is I'll reach in and not plan the colors and randomly grab one, and then just...
That's kind of what I did with mine, was just kind of whatever came next.
And then just spin and then chain ply it. So that it's simple, so this is the one of them I did.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Yeah, it's called like...
It's very like springy colors.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is chain ply. There's a few little spots where I randomly forget how to chain ply and then, or like the yarn breaks and then I'm like, quick. Yeah. So...
Do you chain ply on your wheel? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't think I can do it on the e-wheel nano anyway, but like I just have to do it on a drop spindle because I can't work that fast.
Okay, but I'm going to send you a link to, you know how to chain ply. Annika sent me a link when I learned how, and it was so useful. I'm going to grab the other one I finished of the puffballs. Okay. This one is a little odd because this was the first, I hadn't chain plied in months, and then I forgot. And so when I tried it again, there's definitely some funky spots on this, but I don't care. I'm still going to use it. This one, they titled, these puffballs, they titled Butt Cheeks and Butter. But look at this.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't it?
It's like buttered popcorn.
I know. I think I don't know what I'm going to do with it all. find something, a hat, I don't care. Like, whatever. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Things not on my list. Spinning massive amounts of fiber.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So,
what do you got?
My list. I brought 2 over. I mean, I also have a ton because I can't work on one project at a time. I can't finish projects. Just whatever tickles my fancy. So, I've been working on this shawl I just started. It's the Aperture Shawl by Ambo O'Brien.
Ah, I like that. I have that pattern. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's really pretty, but it's like the lace pattern isn't too involved either, so it's good to work through. And the yarn that I'm using is Chromo Dynamics, which is dyed by the owner of my local yarn store.
Cool.
I think you can only get it there. I don't think she sells it online. It's hard to see on camera. Yeah. It's like a purpley.
Is it a fingering weight?
It's fingering weight, yeah.
How big does that end up
it's got spleen in it too, so it sparkles.
Ooh. How big does that end up in being?
I don't know how big it's going to be. I know that there's like a 1 and 2 skein option.
Okay.
In the
I might
pattern,
do a little 1 skein of that. I like little small kerchiefs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could stop it whenever you want to, because it has like a bunch of sections of lace. But yeah, I don't know. It's been fun to work through. I just
and I have that pattern. That would be a good like in the new year mindless maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
For sure. And the entire time that I've had this skein of yarn, I knew that's what I was going to knit with it, because like I love that pattern.
And that's
then the other thing I brought over,
that would be good for like you're doing like a mostly solid, semi-solid tonal yarn that isn't. Because that's the thing. Sometimes people pick like really busy yarns for lace work, and I'm like, yeah, and now I can't even see all the lace work you did.
Can't see all the work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that was. I don't buy solid color yarn that much though, but that was the one that I had, and it just felt right.
Cool, it does.
And then my other project that I have that I've been working on while I'm sitting here is I'm working on the Nurtured Sweater by Drea Renee, and I'm using budget AC Moore yarn that I got originally for my nether garments when I did the knit along, and I had so much left over.
Tell everyone what AC Moore is who might not have them, because we don't have them in our region, but I know what they are.
Yeah, it's a defunct craft store. They all closed down last year, I think, or early this year. I don't know. Time is meaningless now. Yeah. But that was the closest craft store to me, and you could get like a pound of yarn for like $7, and it's weird sometimes, like weird types of like off-cast yarn or mill ends and stuff, but it was a good deal. So yeah, I had bought 3 of those because I had no concept. It doesn't have a yardage or anything, so you kind of have to guess. And I had no concept of how much yarn it was going to take to cover my ass, so I bought 3. And I had a lot left over. So
is that worsted weight?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's worsted.
I want to knit that sweater too.
So I thought this would be good because I have so much left, and because of the way you knit it, there's lots of slip stitches, so it eats the yarn up a lot. So I have this much at the bottom, and I have 2 sleeves done. So, because you knit the sleeves first, and then it's bottom up, and you connect the sleeves.
Oh, that's kind of, I like that.
Yeah. It's different. So, yeah, that's what I've been working on.
Okay. We thought, Sam and I talked a little bit before we started recording, and I thought it would be fun to do acquisitions.
Yes.
Because why not?
Yeah.
So, do you want to go first, or should I?
I'll go first for this one.
Okay.
So, I have a couple. I've never bought cat sandwich fibers before.
We haven't done the mental health moment, but we'll do that next.
We can do that next, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So this is my first cat sandwich fibers. I, offhand decided to check her website before. She had an update right after this, of course. But so this is DK in the Sailor Pluto colorway, and I'm obsessed with Sailor Moon, so I was very excited about that. And yeah, it's really pretty. So I'm going to make socks out of this because I wanted some thicker, winter socks. So, yeah. And then I also got more Alwyn Salton yarn from the last update. I was sitting there on the website he told me to go like 5 minutes early, so I jumped on. And I got the dumpster fire colorway, which came with a little stitch marker.
Love a fire.
That is a fire.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. And then I also got the Kamsa. I think that's how it's pronounced, Kamsa. And that also came with a stitch marker. And I liked how these had like mirrored stripes on it when it's all knit up. That was so cool to me. I had never seen that before. So yeah, I'm looking forward to making more socks.
Yeah.
You got me into self-striping yarn too. I hadn't done self-striping yarn before I started.
Isn't it addictive?
It's so addictive. It's so fun.
It is. That's the only socks I will do now. I will not do socks that are not self-striping. I'm like,
and I have now, since I've gotten obsessed with self-striping yarn and just knitting socks in general, I have already knit 12 pairs of socks this year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I have at least 2 more planned.
I want to have enough so that, and I do already, but I want to knit Matthew enough that I can do we can just both wear hand knit socks all winter long. Because when you live in a cold weather climate, which you do too, like in the winter, you have to wear wool socks. I mean, you don't have to, but if you can, awesome. And he has now gotten addicted because he's been wearing 2 pairs of my hand knit socks, and he's like, these are so much better than store-bought. And I'm like,
yep.
I know.
Yeah, I had to start knitting Becca her own socks because we were like just sharing the hand knit socks, and her feet, she's a size 10 and I'm a size 7.5. So
you're like, yeah, this isn't working.
But it also works out when I miscalculate the size of socks. They tend to go too big. So I'm like, will these fit you? These are for you now. Like, so she has a small box of her own socks now too. She's very happy.
Yay. Yeah. Those will be his 4th pair. I'm going to try and get him up to 7. I think I already have 7, but I'll have more than that. And he'll have more than that. It's just good to get a
baseline.
For acquisitions, I have a couple things to share. One is this sweater quantity of yarn that I got.
So pretty. Oh my gosh.
I know. I got this from Die Hard Yarns, and Chastity, who owns Die Hard Yarns, I believe still has this in stock. Go to the website and look. And this is, it's Malabrigo Dos Tierras yarn in Fairy Tale. And it's a DK weight yarn. And I am going to use this to do I might cast it on when I finish this test. My, what's it called? The Simple Raglan by Jessie May.
Cozy Classic Raglan?
Yeah, Cozy Classic Raglan. I'm going to use this to knit that. Won't that be pretty?
That'll be awesome. Yeah, it'll be beautiful.
Yeah, so this is going to be my Cozy Classic Raglan, which I might cast on next. We'll see, once I finish the test. Then the other thing I'll share is a 1 Sultan fiber as well. I also got a skein of Dumpster Fire. And then I actually got a skein of his Halloween. The classic Halloween colorway, which I was going to attempt to knit up to have Halloween socks, but this will just be next year's Halloween socks.
There you go.
But look at that.
That's awesome.
And I was telling Sam, so what I do with my self-striping yarn is I put it in jar, because I have some jars that are just random dyers who I buy a skein to try, and then I have jars for each of my favorite dyers. Like I have a Mud Punch jar, I have a Valkyrie Fibers jar. Now this is my L1 Sultan jar so far. And I had this thought in my head, like once I fill a jar, I won't get any more from that dyer, which was great until Valkyrie Fibers did an update. And I'm like, or I just put this in a bigger jar.
Just buy more jars.
Which is what I did. So, yeah. And I think that's it for acquisitions for me. Okay. Mental health moment. Sam had the idea for this week's mental health moment, and oops, she's frozen.
Oh no.
Oh, you're back.
I'm still here.
Okay. I can hear you. You're just not. There you are. Okay. And the
Okay.
idea Sam had is she said, we should talk about misophonia. And I'm like, we should. Um,
Mhm.
and I'll describe my experience with it, and then you can describe your experience with it.
Sounds like a plan.
So misophonia, I think technically it's common for people with anxiety disorders.
Yep, anxiety, OCD, that type of thing.
Yeah. And what it is it's we're not just talking like general irritation. We're talking like sometimes certain kinds in certain situations of chewing noises will like just create, it's like rage. It's like you feel like clawing out of your own body level of rage, okay? I didn't know that this was really a thing, but my partner, Matthew, in the early part of our relationship, now we just know, like, something about the way he chews, I don't know. And it's certain types of food. Like, for me, like, pasta is one of them. It's, like, moist foods.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. And crunchy, too, sometimes. But it's
Mm-hmm.
more like, if I'm, like, in a loud restaurant or something, I don't even notice it. It's more
Mm-hmm.
like when I'm sitting with someone and it's quiet. I used to just look at him and he would be like, what? And I would be like, oh my God, you're chewing. And he would be, and then it got to the point where I would just look at him and he would be like, I'm sorry, I'm chewing his quote. And then I realized, yeah, this isn't his chewing problem. This is actually my brain problem. And then I learned that it's a whole thing called misophonia. Like when I have been at school studying in a quiet study place and a student would come up and sit next to me in a study area and get out food and start eating sometimes, I would pack up all my stuff, even though I had books spread out and my laptop. I would pack it all up and leave because I'm like, I am going to punch you in the face if I don't leave. Like, I feel so much hatred for you right now.
Mm-hmm.
I need to leave. That's my experience with it. My sister has it also. There is a genetic component, but it's also anxiety, OCD related.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Sam?
Yeah. For me, I think before I found out about it, I was just like, why am I such an asshole?
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I'm like,
because I get so pissed.
A judgy, horrible person is what I
exactly.
I thought, yeah.
And because like, especially when it's like people I care about, and like there are certain people, same thing about chewing, where like even if they just like open their mouth a little bit while they chew, I can't do it. Toothbrushing, I can't do toothbrushing. A lot of mine is just repetitive sounds in general. It just, and it also, and I had read that this happens to other people, it can extend to like stuff like leg jiggling, like if you can feel it. And so like leg jiggling, foot tapping, that kind of stuff.
I am a leg jiggler, but when Matthew leg jiggles and it moves the couch, I'm like, will you stop? Yeah.
Yep. It's so irritating. And I think the one that I finally ended up looking it up at this point because it was the weirdest thing that triggered me was my wife would kiss my cat's head, and she'd do it a lot. Like, you know, you have a cute little cat and go, blah, 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 blah. But she'd do it so many times in a row, and I'm like, why am I so mad at her kissing the cat's head? That makes no sense. This is such a cute moment, but I am full of rage. So then I finally looked it up, and I'm like, okay, I'm not just an asshole. So, yeah.
Our poor partners.
Right?
To deal with them.
And, like, there's some things that I've talked to her about where I'm like, can you please just not do that around me? Like, if you need to, like, brush your teeth. Like, she likes to wander around the house while she brushes her teeth, and I've had to be like, please don't. Just stay in the bathroom, please. But other things, I'm just like, I just need to suck it up. Like, there's only so many things I can be like, you have to do it this certain way, you know?
Yeah, there are meals where if a certain type of food is being served and it's like a small family meal, I just know I cannot eat at the table with everybody else, and I'll just bring my bowl. When our youngest still lived with us before college, they would sit down with me and Matthew, and sometimes it would like, I would just be like, and I would just get up and sometimes they'd be like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, it's not you. It's me. This is my problem. This is not you at all. You're not doing anything wrong. I'm just going to go eat in a different,
well, because you can't think about anything else. Like, your brain gets so hyper-focused on that thing that is causing you rage that you can't you know?
It's horrible. So yeah, if that happens to you, you're not a mean person. I think way more people have this than realize too.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah. You're not horrible, you just have misophonia. And apparently you can do exposure therapy to treat it. Because my DBT therapist has mentioned maybe we should do some exposure therapy. And I'm like, it's not like that big of a deal. Like, I think that's great if we want to one day, but I think I have way bigger fish to fry at this moment that we should work on before we deal with misophonia.
My sound rage, yeah.
Before we deal with the sound rage, let's deal with like my mommy issues and stuff, and like then we'll deal with the sound rage. Yeah, you know, as one does.
As one does.
And you know what else I found out? I found this on TikTok because I follow a bunch of neurodivergent folks. Okay, there are different stim toys. This is like unrelated to misophonia, but interesting. Because you know, like the leg jiggling is a way to self-stim.
Yeah.
Another thing I do is a picker. Like, I've never picked my skin necessarily, like, till I get a wound. There are some people who do, and it's an OCD and anxiety thing. But, like, my nails, all that.
I do that too.
They make stim toys specifically for pickers.
Oh, really?
And one thing they do, and this I get, because I do this, I would sit and, like, out to lunch, I would, like, shred napkins.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who I was with were always like, what the freak are you doing? And I'd be like, I don't know, it's just a thing. And then I learned, oh, that's your stimming. They make stim toys for this. Like, one they have is corks.
My cat's screaming at me.
Okay. Corks and cork boards. So you have a cork and you can bring it and pick it apart.
Huh.
And then
that makes sense. I recently got a worry stone, which I haven't had for a while, but I'm like, that's basically an old school fidget toy.
It totally
you just
is.
rub it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It totally is. Yeah. So if you too want to axe murder people when they're eating dinner next to you, you probably just have misophonia. You're not a terrible person.
You're not a terrible person. You're not the only one.
Yeah. I've been lately, to help not have to watch the news, my new genres of reality TV is plane crash shows.
Well, what are you doing?
Which cat is that?
This is Kona.
Okay. Hi, Kona. You can be part of our podcast, Kona.
She's mad because it's getting closer to dinner time and I haven't acknowledged her.
I gave Dinah like 2/3 of a can before this, so she's somewhere in a food coma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's all randomness. I'm watching plane crash documentaries, air disaster shows.
I've just been watching a lot of YouTube videos. But even that gets stressful because there's so many commercials now. There's so many ads.
Yeah. So, should we wrap up here? I don't know. We'll maybe try and do one in another 2 weeks we shoot for. Let's set realistic goals.
2 weeks sounds good.
After the 20th.
Yeah.
And this, maybe I'll stop recording and then upload right away after I cut out the beginning where we're chit-chatting.
Okay.
So yeah, everybody comment and give a welcome shout out to Sam. I wonder if this could fit in Instagram.
Maybe.
Should I see? Like on IGTV?
Yeah.
Okay.
Might as well try.
Might as well try. Then I could put it here and maybe on YouTube. We'll see. I'll edit first. Okay. Or just cut out the beginning is what I mean by that. So yeah, after the 20th, when I'm done with all the bag things, we'll record another episode.
Sounds good.
But everybody give a nice comment welcoming Sam. And yeah, look forward to seeing you later.